Hey everyone, this is Curb Knight, bringing you another standard match. We're finally going to get started on that set 11 content with the Kheios on the right, followed up by on the left, we do have Gandeeva, still the favorite from set 10. So we'll see how Kheios can really do against this meta. With the new Kheios card and some of the new support cards, I do think that Kheios really just kind of does have a legitimate chance again in the meta, but it is kind of a turn 4 deck, as my teammate keeps telling me. But when it does get to that turn 4, it can be very, very explosive and make it almost impossible for your opponent to survive. But we are going to be seeing Kheios going first, which is definitely what they want to be seeing. You want to be getting to that turn 4 as quickly as possible, and obviously going first is the best way to do it. Now, we do see Gandeeva actually opting to play the Bob Sagara ride line, running into the grade 1, Soul Blasting, and adding the shield to the hand, which is effectively going to let us get a free discard or free ride into our grade 2. The grade 1 Kheios is skill activates there. We do see the top 2 cards and putting one into the soul, putting the OT back to the bottom, and we do see a new card from BT11, that Aga, which is going to be coming down, counterblasting 1, and I believe that allows you to, well, you saw it in the thumbnail. I think it's counterblast, the little card image. I believe it's counterblast 1, check the top 2 cards, one goes to soul and one goes to hand, if I recall correctly. But we do see Gandeeva at 0 damage, which is kind of interesting. And we do see a little bit of a hybrid too here, where they are playing the grade 2 of the ride line instead of the grade 2 of the Bob Sagara to get back the shield and get another free discard, which is totally viable because it kind of prevents you from getting damage denied, which is something that might actually end up happening here. Anyways, we do see the Brachio coming down. That attack's obviously going to be blocked because we don't want them to get free advantage. Running into the Kheios, soul charging a normal unit, but choosing not to actually you get to call something if you get a normal unit. I'm just trying to learn all the Kheios names. I just read them like 5 minutes ago, and I'm totally cool. But we do see 2 Agas actually getting soul charge, which is very unfortunate because Kheios is a Highlander deck, and we did soul charge 2 of the same name, so it's gonna be pretty unfortunate. We do see the grade 1 Makani coming down, soul charging, and then putting itself into the soul. I guess John just getting some names there. It looks like we're up to 7 names at this point. We do see Kheios just swinging at the rear guard, just kind of damage denying Gandeeva, which is not gonna work entirely because we can still use the Gandeeva skill, but it does keep us off of any of the grade 2 skills. It keeps us off Alphac, so realistically there's not a whole ton that Gandeeva is going to be able to do. And that being said, it might even have a lot of issues getting to that 5 bind zone this turn, because with no counterblast it makes it pretty hard. So you're kind of just pushing Gandeeva back a turn and letting yourself have another chance to really hit hard. While Kheios is a very strong deck, I'm not entirely sure how well it can 0 to 6 an opponent. It can definitely deal at least like 3 to 4 guaranteed damage, but at that point you do need to be able to like kind of rush them in the early game, which is something that it can definitely do with things like Zargon and that new grade 2, which just kind of lets you get free advantage. We're going to be seeing the Gandeeva only swing for 1 damage because we only got 2 cards face down in the bind zone from the Gandeeva skill. Now we do see a little bit of a misorder there. When you ride the new Kheios, you do actually soul charge 3 first. Optionally, you can choose to do that or not, and then you Persona Ride, but we did things a little bit backwards there, where we actually drew a card before we soul charge. I think it's probably just the, the muscle memory habit that you always want to, whenever you ride a new card, you always just draw a card due to Persona Ride, because we do technically activate Persona Ride here, which allows you to check your soul for 2 cards. You call one of them to rear, and then the other goes to hand. We're seeing grade 3 Makani called out of the soul, and a grade 1 Makani being added to the hand. Now we do activate the order, and I think we misplay it a little bit. You check top 5, and then you put cards from the top 5 equal to the number of different Kheios in your name. I believe at this point we only have 4, so we should have only put 4, but it doesn't matter a whole ton because we saw double Zargon there, so realistically we could have just gotten the same. But another really interesting thing, I'm not sure if I made a miscount, but if my count is correct, I think we only have 11 different names in Soul, and in order to actually activate the Kheios skill there, which is the binding of the old Kheios, I think you do need at least 13. So maybe a little bit of a misplay. I could be wrong here. You guys in the comments love correcting me, so let me know if I did actually miscount the number of names. But I double checked it, I triple checked it. I think it's correct, but once again, I could just be wrong. But we do see the double Makani. We do have full 5 attacks. These Makanis, one of them did get an extra 10k from the skill of the order, which lets you call a Makani from Soul, and then give one of your, or lets you call a card from Soul, I believe, and then you give one of your Makanis an extra 10k. But since those Makanis did restand, they do have to go into the Soul during the end phase, which is no problem at all. It means that there's nothing for Gandeeva to retire, which is not always the greatest, because obviously, you know, UBDs, watch my how to beat Gandeeva video, just random plug there, I guess. But we do obviously have to reride the old Kheios during the end phase, which is totally fine. That's kind of what we want to be doing. Looks like we're going to be starting off the turn with just the Gandeeva skill, just using it in order to get that extra 2 cards in the bind zone. And then since of course we didn't retire anything, we do get to draw an extra card. So we're going to go +2 to the bind zone and then draw 1 card, going up to that 4, which means that we only need to see 1 more card in the bind zone in order to get that extra critical. Of course, we should probably remember to stand our Vanguard. Otherwise, you know, it obviously has to stay back. It has to stay rested because you didn't stand it during the ride phase or the stand phase. Oh my god, I'm terrible. Anyways, we do see the grade 3 coming on down, binding the counter charger, and since there's nothing to fire, binding another card and drawing another card. So having no UBDs allows that grade 3 to actually pop off. Calling down another grade 3, but actually opting not to use its skill, which makes sense. You know, it looks like we probably don't have too many attackers. We don't see any Alphax, so we're just gonna be swinging for 23, not hitting into anything. The grade 3 is gonna be swinging another 23. And then, of course, we do have the last one swinging for a 23. So we're just going to be, Kheios is going to be surviving that. Top decking into another new Kheios, which I think my counter should have actually gone up by 1. Yeah, because there is now that new Kheios. I think that's one of the mistakes I might have made, because when you do ride, you get 1 new card in Soul. So I think we're at 12, if I'm correct. But once again, I could be mistaken. I don't play this deck, and I was not present during this game, so I'm gonna opt to trust the Kheios player a little bit more than I trust myself. But we do see a really nasty card, that grade 1. It's gonna go into Soul. I think it's from BT2. It gives an extra 2k to something, which is like whatever, but it does also give them a guard restrict where they can only call grade 0s from hand to guard the attack. So if we can manage to get a couple crits onto that Makani with the guard restrict, it is going to be hitting for a very big number. Second Makani swinging in, dealing the 2nd damage, hitting into a defensive. So now the opponent is at 4. This Kheios is going to be swinging in with an extra crit. Actually, no, we don't get the extra crit, I think, because I think the extra crit is tied to using the skill during the main phase, which I don't think we actually did. So that's just going to be 1 damage. But this Makani is going to be swinging in with the power of the critical trigger as well as the draw trigger. We can't PG it, and it looks like we ran out of cards in hand. Looks like we had a ton of no shield value in our hand. So that's another thing I mentioned in my How to Beat Gandeeva video. Whoa! It's like all these things are relevant. But anyways, that's going to be the end of the match. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to all the see-through things. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.